And you press down and forward with the wrist creases now. 3 breaths. Draw upper arm bones in towards one another, so the back wingtips spread. And then inhale, drop the belly, open through the throat, and find that anterior tilt in the pelvis as it rolls. Staying with this orientation in the pelvis, draw the hips back, child's pose. Gorgeous. Release Ujjayi. But keep the foundational inner method of shamatha, simple breath awareness. Simple breath awareness at Hara. Which exists between the navel and the pubic bone, but is a wide sphere of intelligence that circles around the side bodies and back body as well. It's the very center point. Our gravity center, I like to think of it as what keeps us from falling off the planet. Home ground. The seat of intentionality. The body coordinator to see how fully I'm living in awareness now. And as we rest here at Hara, we make ourselves a vessel for natural intelligence. Because true intelligence is when our intellect is in confluence with our intuition. So the head brain and belly brain, connecting those two sites of knowing. So just starting to draw some kind of neural fiber connectivity at the center point between the brow and Hara center, home base. And what's it like for those two areas of intelligence to interact and engage with one another? Third eye center, the insight or intellect bandwidth of our knowing and understanding. And Hara, our belly brain, our intuitive, emotional, wisdom center. What's it like for those two regions to dialogue? coming up. So Hara is the foundational coordinate when we practice asana. Whether yin or yang, the interest is how to gather prana, or chi, life force, at Hara center. How to store prana, chi, life force, all synonymous, at Hara center. And then take poses which gather and distribute the collected life force at Hara center and deliver it through certain pathways or meridians through the system. And those are the Chinese medicine meridians, acupuncture lines. We'll go over the kidney channel specifically this weekend. But the purpose of asana is to gather, store, and then distribute energy. And the storehouse of prana is the low belly, is the Hara center. So we can store energy through our practices at the most valuable site, and then we distribute from there so that the natural intelligence of the body starts to draw from this wider bandwidth of understanding. For those of you that work with the chakras, you can think of Hara center as the conglomeration of the lower three chakras. So we have first, second, and third chakra. The Hara sphere encompasses all three of those bandwidths. So both the ability of grounding down through root chakra, the creative life force, our sensuality and sexuality of second chakra, and power, force, determination, and identity from third chakra. Hara encompasses all three of those. So you can think of that as like this wide chakric sphere that we're drawing awareness to in asana and then skillfully distributing chi from that storehouse through the meridian pathways and to particular organs in need of an upgrade. Level 1 is a big focus on that specifically. I'd say that's what all of level 1 is devoted to. The meridian pathways and the gathering, storing, and then distributing through particular meridians and the organ health that relates to those. So I'm not going to cover that this weekend, but know that that's the foundational concepts that I'm drawing from. What I'm interested here is layering that to take the cultivation of presence at Hara and draw them skillfully through lines of energy in the body. So you could say that in any pose you take, whether yin or yang, you're working through various lines of energy in any one moment. And the lines of energy are down and up. So we've talked about reciprocal inhibition and oppositional movement. In any pose you take, there will be regions of your body that are pressing down or grounding, and an opposite end of the spectrum that's lifting. So just right here in Sukhasana, in seated pose, pelvis grounds down, crown lifts. There will also always be, in every shape you take, an area that's expanding away from center line, and another region that's contracting. So an example here is that belly, point, and even sternum open and spread away from center line, and the opposite's happening on the back body, which is that the bottom tips of the shoulder blades, they go down and in towards one another. So as My heart spreads, the back body contracts. So wherever you're expanding out, there'll be another area that's reciprocal that's contracting. And then similarly, there'll always be a region that's drawing forward and that's pulling back. So you can start to investigate those lines of energy in each pose you take and use them as specific cues for your students or in your own practice so that you really start to gather energy at the Hara and then pull prana through those lines of energy. Does that make sense? So let's try it in down dog. So first, as you settle in, you take 3 breaths in that Hara breathing, inhaling into low belly, and exhaling, emptying the lowest lobes of the lungs. 3 rounds of breath. Yeah. And then we'll walk through those 3 different lines of energy. So first, I want you to feel the triad of the hand, the pad between the base of the thumb and pointer finger pressing down. Pointer finger knuckle pressing down. But the inner line of the bicep and the inner shoulder all the way to the sit bones lift up. So as you press down in one space, you're lifting up in its opposite. Yeah, beautiful. As you draw the navel in towards the spine, you press the thigh bones back away from navel. As you hug the inner heels and the forearms towards the midline, you widen through the base of skull and inner ear as you move away from the center line and spread wide as well through the sit bones. Now picking one line of energy for the last 3 rounds of breath, you'll inhale into Hara, and then you'll exhale and spread prana through that line, up and down, in and out, forward and back. Last exhalation. Beautiful. Bottom of the exhale, come down into tabletop. And press back to seated, coming off of the wrist.
Did you repeat the 3 lines?
Can somebody else repeat the 3 lines even better? And I just want to remind us, I'm going to pause for questions at the end because we have a lot of content to move through, but I'll cover this one and then just pause for questions and I'll leave time at the end. Okay. So the 3 lines of energy, what was the first one?
Pointer finger pointing down.
Pointer finger down.
Shoulder, arm lifting up.
Shoulder and arms lifting up. So that was the down and up line of energy. And that's just one example in the structure of a place where you're grounding down and lifting up. But there are others as well.
Heels down, hips.
Heels down, hips up. So you could play with the back line of the legs.
As well as skull down, hips up. So it's a little bit of a X.
So you can play with any of these regions. So that's the down and up. And then what was in and out? Something I said or something you felt?
Thighs and belly.
Yeah, so the thighs were...
Out. They both fell into me. So my belly felt in and thighs felt sort of contracted, but maybe
So, and this gets into really specifics here, but different regions of the thighs are doing different things. So the inner line of the thighs are drawing together, the front of the thighs are drawing back. So it depends where you want to draw awareness to.
Sit bones go wide.
Sit bones wide. And so the beauty of this is really taking the shape enough in your own practice to flirt with these lines of energy, but then watching people's bodies to know what to cue. Because if I'm really seeing that the thighs are being hugged in and engaged, I won't cue that. I'll look for a place that's not already tapped in and I'll draw awareness there. So it's like you're sculpting or kind of painting all of the anatomical cues that maybe aren't brought online in the pose organically. So we've got the up and down, we've got the back and forth. Another back and forth one that I really like is sternum can draw back as you reach forward through crown of head. So there's that back and forth.
I love the guidance you did of drawing the forearms together and the legs together as like the skull and the jaw widen and the sacrum widens. That was a cool one.
Yeah. So the in and out.
No.
And exploring these lines of energy, we always come back to Hara. So that we can have enough sustenance to elongate those lines. So we practice breathing at Hara and then we pull from Hara to start to navigate the lines of energy up, down, back, forth, in and out. Does that make sense? So if you could find a seat again. We practiced shamatha and ujjayi and ujjayi and